The one Jägermeister shot you miss, it is going to help you buy a car in the future.
Beats, what the fuck?
I was always into the stock market. I mean, I remember investing in shares, direct shares, when I was 13 years old. So I would always say, if you have a FD and if it's reaching its maturity, rather than starting another one, shift to debt funds. The coronavirus can keep us at our homes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. But that does not mean businesses are going to stop. That does not mean 1.2 billion people in India are going to come on the roads jobless.
Right. Human nature is not going to change.
Exactly. The intrinsic value, we are survivors.
So this is much worse than what happened in 2008. So what this means is that the reset button has just been pressed much harder, and looking say 10 years down the line, we can expect to have massive returns in the next coming decade.
Could you tell me about CCS?
So CCS was a company which was basically founded in November in 2018. So we've almost crossed a year and a few months here and there. So we started off basically by selling mutual funds to our clients and a few very specific clients by giving them direct equity options, that is direct entry into the share market. Okay. So basically what we do at CCS is we make a very customized and dynamic plan for our client, ranging right from a salaried person somewhere like a salaried person starting from 10,000 rupees per month to anywhere to a lump sum amount of about 50 to 1 crore.
Okay.
So something like that.
And how do you come up with it?
I was always into the stock market. I mean, I remember investing in shares, direct shares, when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
So, I mean, on my father's account, because you could not open a Demat account based on my age.
Yeah.
So, I think I got the inspiration from my grandfather, who started investing in shares when he was he was not 18, but somewhere around 20 to 25. So, he started buying shares of Reliance and all when they were in single or double digit numbers.
Right.
So I think I always had an interest in the stock market through him, but I got more into it as I started reading up and everything similar.
Okay. What was the process like starting CCS?
The process of starting CCS was quite simple, I would say, because we already have a team in place. I mean, in the sense that we knew what the procedure was, so it was not technically a startup.
Okay.
So it was always like the registration and everything was quite similar, because there are a lot of mutual fund distributors even in the state of Goa, let alone India. But the thing was, we wanted to be separate from them in the sense that what we offer is not similar to them, because we do most of the companies do a quarterly review. We do something like a fortnight review. So every somewhere around 15 to 20 days we do a review, and whatever changes are there we suggest it, and we do not look at the only thing we look at when we look at a client's investment is basically the funds and not the commissions and not the brokerage and nothing like that. Okay. So something similar to that.
And what is the target audience that you're looking at?
So the basic target audience that we look at is a salaried person, like I said, right from 2 to 3,000 SIP all the way to a lump sum amount of anywhere from, I mean, the sky's the limit basically.
Right.
So tomorrow if we get a client who is ready to invest 100 crores, we're not going to say no.
Yeah.
So we don't have a upper limit to it, but the lower limit is somewhere around 2,500.
Okay. And what's your backgrounds like?
So I basically did my BBA from Symbiosis University, SCMS in Pune. So I was there for 3 years. So I did, and a multitude of other courses pertaining to the stock market. And you can introduce yourself.
So I just finished my undergraduation from IIM Indore.
Okay.
And I'm a summer analyst at CCS right now, and I'll be starting my MBA at IIM Indore later this year in August.
Okay. What do you think the importance is of investing, and especially for young people? Why should young people be investing right now?
So what we forget is, I mean, the stock market is not it doesn't generate returns on a short period unless you're a trader. So a trader is basically
a day trader.
Yeah, like a day trader. Basically somebody who buys something on Monday and even sells it on Tuesday for that matter, not only daily. So not everybody is skilled in that field. And there's a lot of risk involved also.
Right.
So what happens is, the stock market basically, or mutual funds because mutual funds are basically stock markets but a safer version of it. So the stock market is the best performing asset of all time in the world. So if you look at the historical data, the stock market gives you the best returns. So we thought, I mean, the beauty of the stock market is every 2 years there's a turn. For example, in 2008 there was a crash.
Right.
The financial housing market bubble crashed in the US. Every market fell almost like 20-30%, similar to what we are seeing right now. But in almost about 1.5 years to 2 years, the stock market was back up.
Right.
So what happens is, if you are invested for the long term and if you have a SIP, you get to take advantage of all those drops and buy shares through mutual funds at a dirt cheap rate.
Okay.
And the longer you're invested, the better the returns you will get.
Okay.
So something similar to keeping your money in a savings account or a FD. FD gives you a fixed rate of income, whereas your upper limit is capped.
Right.
Whereas, for example, if FD gives you 7%, it won't give you
It's always
20%
gonna
just
be
because the
adjusted.
economy is growing.
Right.
And right now, the inflation in India is so high or moderate levels that the FD is not really helping you earn. It is just breaking even after taxes, after everything. So the stock market, and I started investing when I was 13. I have shares which I have held for 7 years, and those shares right now are my babies basically, because I've made a killing on them and I continue to do so because
Right.
I was invested for the long term.
Right.
And also coming to why start young, basically when you invest, there are two aspects to your investments and money management. You have this thing called the time value of money, which basically says that money today is more important than money tomorrow.
Right.
And also the entire art of compounding. So what happens in investments related to mutual funds and the equities is compounding. So basically you have a sum of money that grows and you get interest on that and so on. So it's basically an exponential growth. And at the end of the day, if you start young, what is going to ensure is that you're going to have a very great deal of financial security, say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, which allows you to actually take many more financial risks when you're older in life. So say you want to start a business 10 years down the line. That's the reason you should start investing today. So you can actually leverage your investments and take bigger risks in the future.
So you have freedom.
Exactly.
So you have freedom to live
Yes.
your own life.
It's actually being very prudent about your wealth management.
So basic example is, I remember in college we had a professor who was telling us how he's a middle class professor.
Wait, before we go on, tell us what SIP means for everybody who doesn't.
SIP is basically a systematic investment plan. So,
Okay.
for example, if you start a SIP of 10,000 rupees, basically what it does is 10,000 rupees from your bank is deducted every month unless you inform us that you want to stop it.
Okay.
So what that does is, but you would be like, why should I invest 10,000 a month? I can just give a check of 1.2 lakh for the entire year. But what happens is, a SIP lets you chip out and reduce the buying price of the mutual fund funds basically. Because, for example, right now if you had a SIP going on, you could invest right now when the market is down 30%.
Right.
Whereas if you bought the same amount in December, you'd be sitting on a loss of about 30% right now. Whereas if you have a SIP, it lets you take advantage of the dips in the market, and it forms your portfolio in such a way that your overall buy prices are much lesser than the actual current prices, giving you better chances of being profitable.
Also, people often ask why SIPs, why mutual funds, why the equity markets. Well, the simple reason is, if you actually look at Indian society, we are very conservative when it comes to multiplying our money. There are one of two things that people in India traditionally do. It's either invest in gold or invest in real estate.
Right.
Now, as you can see over the last few years, especially after demonetization, the real estate market has taken a hammering, and after the COVID-19, it's just going to get worse. So it's time that Indians actually went out there and started exploring more innovative forms of investments. Because you look at the Americans and the Europeans, they're investing in a wide plethora of investment instruments. And India is slowly getting there, and SIPs, mutual funds, the stock market is basically a stepping stone for Indians to actually, break the shackles of them being conservative and go out and explore in the markets.
So, for example, Indian women hold more gold than the World Bank and America and a couple of countries combined.
Wow.
So that's a substantial size. So what happens is, we, as like Kaivalya said, we as a country are very conservative. For example, the Goan, I'll give you the Goan example. The Goan mutual fund market is about 16,000 crores, including both the instruments of equity and debt. But if you look at the fixed deposit amounts, they are somewhere around 80 to 90,000 crores.
Oh.
So that's a huge amount to invest. But the problem is, I mean, it's a slow and steady game. It's not going to be overnight where people are just decide that okay, mutual funds are better and shift. But the change is coming, and as you can see, there are a lot of ads also released by Amphi, which the mutual fund Sahi Hai ads. So those basically are encouraging people to take the dive into better investment opportunities.
Okay. You were talking about your professor.
Oh yeah, sorry. The professor he gave us a very beautiful example. He was like a middle class professor. He was earning somewhere around in the early 40,000 a month. So what he just gotten a baby daughter. She had just gotten born about 2-3 months back. So what he said was he invests exactly 5,000 rupees a month in her name.
Okay.
Monthly. So that's about, and what the basic plan was that my kid is going to be a multi-millionaire by the time she's 18.
Right.
Because there's 18 years of compound interest.
Right.
And compound interest is something that I cannot explain to you in a podcast. I will need 2 8-hour podcasts to explain to you compound interest.
Yeah.
So basically, the beauty of the stock market is the longer you invest in, the better returns you get. And the safer returns you get. Because it helps you average down your costs.
Okay.
Also, when it comes to the stock markets, your temperament and your attitude towards the market is often what decides your returns much more than finding the right stocks. And that is why it's always a good rule of thumb to never get too emotional with the markets. Do not, actually get attached to the markets. Instead, follow set rules and you'll be set.
Right. Since you're targeting a young audience, some of them might not know what the stock market is or what it means when you say you're investing in a stock. So could you talk about that a bit?
So basically, stocks are the funds. The biggest companies in India are listed on the stock market. Something like Reliance or Tata or multitude of others. Something like ITC, which might relate to a lot of your younger audience because they produce Gold Flake also.
Right.
So for example, what they do is in order to grow, they need to sell a stake in their company, and the people who buy it are people like you and me, who don't have a lot of money with them, but they have enough money that they can buy 1 to 10 shares of that company. So there are millions of people like us who help them grow, and when they are profitable, if they are profitable, the share market rises, and then you can sell it and make a profit on it.
Because it's a very symbiotic relationship. When you as an investor give your money to the company, it lets them take steps that will let them grow, and at the same time you are getting your returns on it as well. So it's extremely symbiotic. There's a sort of a synergy in play.
Whereas a mutual fund, the reason it is much safer is a mutual fund is a AMC, that's an asset management company, which pulls in everybody's money, like thousands of people's money, like be it 1,000 rupee or a 1 lakh rupee investment, they pull in their money together and they buy into a multitude of shares.
Okay.
So for example, a single mutual fund can hold the top 50 shares of the Nifty.
Okay.
That is the index in India which we base our assumptions on.
You can go ahead and explain Nifty.
Okay, so
and
basically Nifty 50. That's a saying you might hear a lot of. Something like a Sensex and a Nifty. That's on most of the news channels.
Right.
So Nifty basically comprises of the 50 biggest companies in India, and Sensex does the same of the top 30.
Okay.
So they are basically the BSE and NSE. That's the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange.
Right.
So basically that acts like a benchmark for how the country is doing. So for example, when you look at each financial markets in the world, you always look at something like a Nasdaq.
Yes.
That's the New York Stock Exchange,
Right.
or New York Stock Exchange for that matter.
Right.
So they are basically like a benchmark about how the country is doing.
Right.
So it's basically, you can say, it's a sort of a scale, a sort of an indicator that actually indicates how well the businesses in your company or in your country are doing.
So if Nifty is higher, then Indian businesses
Yeah, so
are doing well.
Yeah.
a growth in any of these indices actually means a progress in the health of the businesses in your country.
So for example, the basic assumption, the basic reality is if the Nifty rises by 1,000 points, that means the below 50 companies that the benchmark is made up of are rising.
Right.
That means the reason they are rising is because they are giving better returns and they are being more profitable. And when they are more profitable, the country is more profitable.
Okay.
By way of taxes and other employment opportunities.
Right. And why are mutual funds better?
Mutual funds are better for the basic layman because he or she cannot sit in front of the computer and trade daily because they might have a separate job that they have to get to. And mutual funds also are much better pertaining to safety.
Okay.
Because, for example, when I buy a single share of, let's say, Reliance, and that share falls by 500 points, hypothetically, that is a 500 point loss I'm looking at.
Right.
Whereas if I buy in a mutual fund, a large cap equity fund, whichever one it might be, there's a team of 10 to 20 people doing their extensive research, and those people are way more educated in those fields than we are. So what they do is they pool their collective brains and their skills and all the indicators and everything and invest in a multitude of shares.
Right.
So each large cap fund will have anywhere between 30 to 60 stocks.
Okay.
So what happens is the chances of you getting a large dip or your portfolio falling substantially are much lesser.
Because your losers are protected by your
Exactly. So
Right.
when something is falling, something has to rise. It's similar to that. So basically, a mutual fund helps you balance it out. And for example, most of our clients right now, the global markets have fallen almost about 30%, 25 to 30%, slightly recovering, and it's a seesaw right now, basically, essentially. So what happens is most of our clients right now are not looking at a loss at all. The loss compared to the actual crash is nothing because we had planned it in such a way.
Right.
Corona, we believe that Corona was just the match on the gasoline can.
It's like a trigger. It was
Exactly.
basically a house of cards waiting to fall.
It was already falling because the rubber band had stretched too much. So the Corona was only basically the last pull. So that was the only reason. But we were quite bearish. So basically a bull and a bear. That's the terms that stock market analysts and everybody use. Basically the bull, because if the market is rising, it's called a bull because the bull uses its horn to throw its prey on top.
Right.
And the bear pulls you down.
Right.
So it's basically if the markets are going up, it's the bull, and if it's going down, it's the bear. So we were very bearish on the markets before Corona also.
Okay.
So COVID was just a reason actually. So we had planned our investments in such a way that the clients were not affected a lot.
Shorts.
Yeah. Not shorts.
Not-
Mutual
Okay.
funds don't have shorts.
Okay.
We had put them in debt funds.
Okay.
Debt funds are similar to FDs.
Okay.
But in my opinion, a lot safer than FDs and give better returns than FDs.
Okay. When I was 13 and I wanted to invest based on whatever society had taught me at that point, my thought was to go and put it in a bank.
Exactly.
And that's what I like. That's what I would have been putting it in an FD. And that's what most people think investing is. Why would someone? But an FD offers some level of security. Like you said, we are a conservative society. And when you invest in the FD, you know that you're going to get that 7%.
Exactly.
But why do you think mutual funds are better than FDs?
So for example,
And you can talk about why you think that it is that way right now in this time.
Exactly. So what I think it's the idea that has been drilled into our head for generations that FDs are safe. For example, if you take a FD of 50 lakh rupees and tomorrow it's giving you a 7% interest rate a year, hypothetically, and if the bank goes bust, they are liable to pay you 5 lakh rupees. So you will lose 45 lakhs of your investment.
Okay.
Because by law they are legally allowed to pay you 5 lakh rupees. So you are losing 45 lakhs. Whereas if you invest the same in a proper debt fund, the debt funds are basically better versions of mutual funds, and they are completely 100% collateralized. Somewhere around 85 to 95% collateralized, and the remaining are government bonds. So it's very, very secure.
Okay.
So I would always say if you have a FD and if it's reaching its maturity, rather than starting another one, shift to debt funds, because the beauty of debt funds is there are no exit loads basically. So what I mean by that is FD, if you need the money urgently, you have to break the FD.
Right.
Whereas in debt funds, you can put it on Monday and take it out on Wednesday. That's the liquidity that it offers. So it's a very beautiful mode of investment, and debt funds are basically for the very conservative investors. So we have a lot of clients who are like, we do not want great returns. We want basic returns that are very, very ultra safe returns. So we put them in a pure debt fund portfolio. They are performing much better than the FD would. They're performing somewhere around 8.5 to 9% a year.
And what we at CCS do is basically offer you twice the security and twice the assurance. So basically, like we said, mutual funds and debt funds are very diversified instruments, and that is what makes them safe, because they actually spread their funds over a very large amount of companies. What we do is add another layer of security to the client, because we ourselves also diversify amongst mutual funds and debt funds. So what that offers you is basically a two-layer protection against volatility in the market.
Exactly.
And when someone invests in you, how hands-on do they have to be? What
No,
control do they
the
have?
beauty, I mean, since there's a huge rise in mutual fund investments because of the ads and a lot of people getting educated on the subject, majority of the companies have become online.
Okay.
And this COVID has just pushed them further. So I can sit in my cabin and send you all the links that you just have to do the payments for. And it's a 5-minute process. If you're an existing investor, it's a 5-minute process. If you're not, there's a PAN card and Aadhaar card registration that needs to be done, which takes about 2 days. So if you want to invest, it takes about 4 days to get invested.
And when it comes for a potential client to approach us, we actually have a sit down with the client, a detailed meeting where we discuss expectations. We also discuss risk appetite, what the client is looking at, and on the basis of that, we actually curate a very beautiful portfolio that suits the interests of the client as
So
well.
I think what sets us apart is we don't have a standardized plan. For example, if a client comes, we don't have a ABCD portfolio ready for them. We kind of start off with a blank board and take the inputs of the client and make a plan for him or her. Because what that allows is not everybody is comfortable with pure equity or pure debt or that amount of safety or that amount of risk. So what we do is we start off with a blank slate. We take inputs from the client about the needs or the job security or the goals in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, because not everybody is 60, right? Some 25-year-old might want to start something.
Right.
So we plan stuff like that.
And again, coming to the question of why start early, that's simply because when you come to us at say the age of 24 or 25, we can actually put you in certain product lines where we can offer you a higher rate of returns, but there will also be a slight increment in risk. But this is not something the average person can afford when they come say at the age of 40 to 45.
Right.
So when you start early, you start in your 20s, that's what you get. You get let's just say a much more larger playing field.
So the basic formula is the older you are, the lesser risk you would take.
Because you can have more responsibilities and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
So you need more liquidity in your hand. So tomorrow, for example, God forbid, you have to go through an operation,
Yeah.
or you need something for whatever reason. So you need that cash in hand a lot more than when you're 25. If you have a stable job when you're 25 and your job prospects are only going to grow, that means you have a standard income and you can go through a larger risk averse portfolio.
Okay.
So what that allows is we can put you in a much more long-term profitability portfolio. So when you turn 60, you can just be like, I have enough money for the operation and a new car.
Right.
So I don't have to work more. I can retire in peace with my wife and my kids, or my husband and my kids.
Yeah.
Also, say you're a youngster in their 20s or 30s, the first idea that should come to your mind on the day that you receive your salary is to assume that you have earned only 70% of it. The remaining 30% you should just put it into an
aside.
investment
Exactly.
instrument and just forget about it. So
Right.
if you earn say $1 lakh a month, just imagine that consider you're earning 70,000 a month.
Okay.
That 30,000 is not to be touched; it goes straight into your investments.
So that goes into a direct SIP. So what that means is basically when you go partying or you go to a restaurant or whatever, you mentally prepare yourself that you earn 70,000 rupees. So I have to survive on 70,000 rupees a month.
Right.
I do not have 1 lakh.
Yeah, it doesn't belong. The
30 doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
So when we talk about that, the compounding interest, that same 30 lakhs, the one Jägermeister shot that you missed, assuming you drink twice a week,
Yeah.
the one Jägermeister shot you miss, it is going to help you buy a car in the future. And only based on 30% of your investment.
Right.
So not even a large portion of it. So
Right.
what we believe at CCS is that whatever your income is, be it as small as 20,000 or as high as let's say 5 lakhs per annum, because well, not 5 lakhs per month. So 30% of that has to go into a SIP
Okay.
or a direct investment model.
Right. So
It's going to be hard.
yeah.
Not everybody can do that.
Right.
I mean, see, when you get your money, you want to spend it.
Right.
See, we talk about the US and everybody because they buy cars, they have everything. Like McDonald's workers have AirPods and iPhones because they have zero savings.
Right.
That's why the government right now in the US needs to pay their people because of the COVID crisis. Whereas Indians, we are one of the largest saving countries.
Okay.
So majority of our money is in the bank.
Right.
If we earn let's say 100 rupees, we will spend 20 rupees.
Right.
But the problem is the 80 that we keep are in FDs.
Right. You can't really touch them.
The same FDs, if you put it in better investment options, you'll earn much more. That's all we're saying.
So you're going the right way, but not the full way.
Exactly.
And so, from what I understand, you'll choose people's investment strategies based on their goals.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right.
Goals. There are multitude of factors. I think like
Aspirations.
goals, age, aspirations,
Right.
stuff like that.
How do you think COVID has affected the market?
Personally, for the existing investors
Yeah.
who were not safely put into portfolios, like unlike ours,
Yeah.
what happened is a direct equity portfolio was down almost 30-40% because the global markets crashed. It's not like only the Indian markets crashed. So what that means is I look at everything in a positive light. This is the best time to invest. I always believe the best time to invest was in 2008,
All right.
where stocks were dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to the stock. The stock is still profitable.
Right.
Because of the global sentiments, the stock is down. So it is basically like, why would you sell? My grandfather always told me that the stock market is like a knife. When you're throwing it up, that's when you want to throw it, right? When it's falling, you don't want to catch it. So why do you want to sell when the markets are falling? It's stupid. Tomorrow, if you have a real estate land of 1 lakh rupees, if the market falls and it's like 50,000 rupees, would you sell it? Then why would you sell your stocks?
Right.
You trust your stocks. Tomorrow you know that company is good. It's going to rise again. Rather than exiting and booking a 30% loss, just stay in it, invest more, get your buy average down, and you can make much more money. So right now we are living in the best time to invest.
Okay.
When I was born, sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
When I was born, the stock market was 8,000 points. Right now, last year it made a high of 42,000. That's a time frame of 20 years.
Right.
So it's basically now's the time to look at the stock market as say a rebirth, because this is much worse than what happened in 2008. So
Right.
what this means is that the reset button has just been pressed much harder, and looking say 10 years down the line, we can expect to have massive returns in the next coming decade.
So basically, what will happen is we need to look at a time horizon of 10 years. You cannot expect substantial returns in the next year. You need to set what we have started doing for majority of our new clients is planning a 10-year plan. Because we have explained to them that it is going to be next to impossible to provide them substantial returns in the short term. Because when we look at the COVID-19 crisis, each and every business is losing money.
Right.
There's not a single business making money except sanitizers probably.
Yeah.
But everything other than that is not making money.
Right.
And for example, the oil crisis or the automobile crisis has literally, it was before Corona also, but Corona was just the match in the haystack basically. So right now we are at ground zero. There is only up. We
Right.
cannot fall down further.
Okay.
So we look at a 10-year horizon and we invest in that way, you will look at wonders. I mean, I wish I had more money with me to invest right now.
Right.
Because I have invested almost 80 to 90% of my personal corpus.
Right.
Because if I had more money to invest, I would love to invest.
Right. There's this Bill Gates saying that everybody overestimates what they can do in 10 months and underestimates what they can do in 10
Exactly.
years.
That again brings us back to the point of actually controlling your temperament when it comes to working with stocks.
Right.
So one thumb rule is have the right temperament, and secondly, never follow the herd, because what the herd is doing is definitely going to bring you to a loss.
Right. So you think now is the best time for people to get into the market and start?
Most definitely.
Right.
If you are not invested in 2008, right now would be the best time to invest.
You don't think we're going towards a recession or anything like that?
We will definitely go into a recession,
Yeah.
but the stock market, like I said, be it 2008 or any crisis before that, even the Great Depression,
Yeah.
the stock market rose in 2 years.
Hmm.
Historically, I mean, as much as we want to say that the corona thing is great, if you look at the death rate, even though a lot of people have died, a lot more than they should have. If you look at the other pandemics in the world, this is not a great pandemic. The only problem is people are staying home, which is obviously very, very good.
Yeah.
But that affects the businesses.
Right.
So what that means is the overall companies in the world, in the entire world, not only India, are going to suffer. There is obviously going to be a recession, but at the same time, this is the best time to invest for long-term growth.
Okay.
Because when you talk about recession, other person's misery, for example, Reliance is not being able to sell its oil. That means that the Reliance stock price would be less.
Right.
You would want to buy it when it's less, right?
Hmm.
Why would you want to buy it when it's $2,000? Right now, when it's 1,000, 2,000, 1,200 or 800, I remember buying Reliance when it was somewhere around 700, and I had that aspiration that or that goal that it's going to reach 2,000. It made a high of 1,600 or something. So a long-term investor can make a killing.
Also, every time we think of stock market disasters, there are these two magical words that should come to mind, and that's natural recovery. So everything that goes down very soon comes up. You just have to give it like a couple of years at max.
So for example, the real estate market is somewhere around 5 to 6 years. So for example, the rise is every 5 to 6 years and the drop is like every 5 to 6 years. So basically, the stock market, the recovery time is less than 2 years.
Okay.
So for example, the beauty of a SIP, like the reason I stress on a SIP for a long-term investor is, for example, if you have a 20-year horizon and every decade there are 2 depressions, something similar to corona, I mean not the pandemic but the drop.
Right.
So the SIP lets you have 2 opportunities to buy it at dirt cheap. So your overall buy price is very less and the gains that you will make will be exponential.
And this always works cyclically. So if you just turn back the clock 20 years, you had the dot-com bubble in the late
Right,
90s,
exactly.
then you had the 2008, and now you have COVID-19.
Right.
So it's extremely cyclical. At that point in time, people get really afraid,
Right.
but it's just going to be out.
So basically what happened is people in 1920s during the Great Depression said that okay, this is the end of the stock market, we are all going to die, nothing is going to happen, if we have money we'll go bankrupt, everything will shut,
Yeah.
everything grew.
Right.
I mean the stock market's on new highs.
Right.
Then after that a lot of a lot of crashes happened, but the next major
It's
one,
a cycle.
exactly.
I was listening to Ray Dalio talk
and
about
the next
it. It's just
major
a
one is
cycle.
2008.
Right.
That time people are like, okay, everybody is going to die. There's no money. The stock markets are crashing. Everything is finished. It made a new high. Right now, it made a new high. At least in India, it made a new high of about 42,000. It fell down to about 30,000. Right now, we're at 30,000. So it is not the end. The coronavirus can keep us at our homes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. But that does not mean businesses are going to stop. That does not mean 1.2 billion people in India are going to come on the roads jobless.
Right. Human nature is not going to change.
Exactly. The intrinsic value, we are survivors as a species. We survive everything. You take us to Antarctica and drop us there without anything, a lot will die, but a lot will survive.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do the same thing to a tiger, he will die. Because we are intrinsically adaptable to a lot of things.
Right. Could you talk about Goa's current AUM and how it holds up against the rest of India?
Basically, the AUM is the asset under management. So when we calculate it for a state, it means each and every company, for example, including us, there must be hundreds of others. So all of our AUMs combined, the AUM according to 2018 data was somewhere around 16,000 crores, which might sound like a large amount, and it is definitely. But when you look at the FD deposits, which is about 80,000 crores, there's a huge gap up, and there's a lot of room for improvement that is available. And but at the same time, we need to be proud as Goans, because the beauty of it is the state of Goa, with a population of about 20 lakh, has the same AUM compared to the population of Bihar. Bihar has a AUM of 16,000 crores.
Okay.
and it has a population of about 10 crores.
Right.
So the Goan population compared to the Bihar population, the AUM is the same. So the benefit Goans have as a whole, we are one of the top 5, at least the most educated country states.
Right.
So what happens then? We have a very high standard of living compared to the other. For example, a person who can afford a house in Goa would be staying in a 1 BHK flat in Bombay. So we have a lot of educated, decent earning people. So what happens is Goa has the best chance to grow and become a financial state where majority of the money is in Goa rather than going out into other things.
Alright. We'll close with any notes that you have for young people or any advice for people about where they should invest or how you can help them.
Just contact us. You can get in touch with us through our Facebook page, or I think we can put up our numbers or email accounts at the end of it.
Yeah.
But don't get worried about the entire Corona thing. At least pertaining to the financial markets, this is the best time to invest if you're a new investor.
Okay.
And if you're an existing investor, this is the best time to top up your investments. What I mean by that is, if you have something, add more to it. Reduce your buy prices. So that will make you do wonders. So contact us if you need a very customized plan for your needs.
Right. Perfect.
Because